When Romania joined the European Union, the air was heavy with expectation of a new era of prosperity. 2 years later, millions of rural Romanians feel like spectators waiting for a parade that never arrived. Prosperity came to the cities, but not to the rural areas, home to 45% of Romania's 22 million citizens. This is the countryside of Iași County in northeast Romania. It is dotted with hundreds of tiny farms, primitive compared to the mega farms of the EU. Homes are often made of little more than clay and straw. People travel in wooden carts drawn by scruffy horses. Well water is drawn by hand. Many wells are contaminated. Reality here is harsh. Gheorghe Mucileanu and his family are one of 2.5 million Romanian families barely surviving as subsistence farmers. They live in a one-room house without electricity, running water, or indoor plumbing. Gheorghe uses a horse to till the land. He owns the horse, but has to borrow the plow. Cash income during the winter is state children's allowances and social welfare, no more than 150 euros a month. That is a quarter, 25% of what most locals calculate would be a modest but decent rural lifestyle. Gheorghe's wife is waiting on the next round of these state benefits so she can have an important surgery. Gheorghe is waiting for spring when he can find work planting in his neighbor's fields. Romania has the potential to be an agricultural powerhouse. 39.5% of its land is rich, arable soil. It could become an agricultural phenomenon, exceeded only by France and Germany, says a study by the Commercial Bank of Romania. EU membership offers the potential of 500 million customers. If anybody could succeed in such an environment, it would seem to be the Pană family. Petre in the doorway, Vasile and another brother can claim considerable accomplishments. 10 years ago they owned 3 hectares. They put together 4,000 euros, a fortune to most Romanian farmers, to qualify for an EU loan of 9,700 euros. Today they own 4 times that, 12 hectares, and they lease another 36. Still, they can't turn a decent profit, and they are fed up with EU requirements. High-priced feed, seeds and fertilizer are shrinking their profit margins more every month. Their biggest profit, the activity that puts food on the table, is beekeeping. Natural honey began as a hobby, but is now their lifeline. Constantin Butnaru is a high school graduate, a notable accomplishment in rural areas where only 1 in 4 children start high school and few of those finish. He turned 2 piglets from World Vision into a herd of 50 in 2004. Then feed prices soared, the price of pork dropped, and his son needed 5 eye surgeries. He sold off the herd pig by pig. Still, he set his sights on an EU loan for irrigation equipment. He incorporated, paid taxes, and was turned down because he didn't have a portfolio to prove his expertise in vegetable gardening. He tried to form an animal breeding association, but his neighbors weren't interested. Romanian farmers distrust anything that reminds them of communism. He took a shot at another EU initiative, but couldn't borrow 5,000 euros from a bank to buy in. The good news is now he and his wife can afford a car and special education for their myopic son. The bad news is he had to take a bank job and his wife a job in the mayor's office to do it. There is no turning back from the change that comes with EU membership, but some aspects of the change must be negotiable. In most EU countries, less than 6% of populations work in agriculture. But in Romania, it is 30.5%. Thus, millions of livelihoods are at stake. If control of agriculture shifts to those who run it as an industry, millions of families will miss out on the potential massive profits. They will have to relocate to towns and cities with no saleable urban skills. Whatever they received for the sale of their small plots will not last long. Government and farmers must get their act together. Government laxity is notorious, as highlighted when the EU froze 25% of funds earmarked for Romanian agriculture in 2008 due to misuse of funds. Small farmers could be competitive in 21st century markets by specializing in organic and traditional products, but their inability to work together is also notorious. Without strength in numbers, and without easier access to EU funds, they will not be able to afford higher quality seeds, fertilizers, animal feed and machinery necessary to compete with the rest of Europe. A €500 milking machine is required by the EU for farmers to sell their dairy products. It is an impossible expense for families surviving on €200 a month. But right now, programs that should be helping farmers enter the era have procedures so complex some have hired consultants. It is a luxury few Romanian farmers can afford. And stories are rife of government employees who should be helping farmers, instead charging fees to assist them to complete complex documents. Responsibility for realization of the new era lies with both farmers and government. Both sides need to start pulling together, now.